Have you ever found yourself doing the same boring task over and over again? Maybe renaming hundreds of files, or crawling through spreadsheets to clean up data, or clicking through the same 5 menus every single morning just to get your system ready. If you're a developer, or even if you're just someone who uses a computer a lot, you know that feeling. But here's the thing, you don't have to live like that. Because there's a superpower that developers have been using for years to reclaim their time and sanity. That superpower is Python. And in this video, we're going to look at why Python has become the go-to language for automation, how it works in real-world scenarios, what the trade-offs are, and the common pitfalls you'll want to avoid. Welcome back to Dev Brief. Let's automate everything. You might be wondering, why Python? After all, there are plenty of tools out there for scripting. You've got Bash, you've got PowerShell, you've got JavaScript with Node.js, and even good old C for the truly hardcore. But Python hit a sweet spot that almost no other language has managed to match. It's readable. And I mean really readable. When you write a Python script, it almost looks like you're writing instructions in plain English. That means you can share it with your teammates, come back to it 6 months later, and still understand what's going on. This is huge for automation because automation scripts often live on for years, silently doing their job in the background. They need to be maintainable. Python delivers on that promise right out of the box. But readability alone isn't enough. What really made Python the king of automation is its ecosystem of libraries. You want to interact with a REST API? There's requests. You want to parse a complex PDF? There's PyMu PDF or ptminer. You need to scrape a website? Beautiful Soup and Selenium have you covered. You want to automate clicking buttons and filling forms in a web browser? Selenium again, or even Playwright for Python. You want to handle file operations, compress images, send emails, monitor system resources, or control a robot arm? Believe it or not, there are Python libraries for all of those. The Python Package Index, or PyPI, has over 400,000 packages. So whatever you want to automate, someone has probably already built the hard part. You just need to write the glue code. Let's talk about some real-world use cases that make Python an automation powerhouse. First up, system administration and DevOps. A sysadmin might need to clean up logs older than 30 days across 100 servers. Doing that manually is insane. With Python, you can write a script using OS and Shootil to walk through directories, check file age, and delete them. Then you wrap it in a simple loop that uses Paramiko to SSH into each server and run that script. Done. That's maybe 30 lines of code that save you hours every week. And you can schedule it with cron or a task scheduler so it runs automatically. That's automation at its finest. Another massive area is data processing. Imagine you get a daily CSV export from your company's database with thousands of rows. You need to filter out certain rows, merge it with another spreadsheet, and send a summary email to your boss. Doing that in Excel is error-prone and slow. With Python, you can import pandas, read the CSV, filter with a one-liner, merge with merge, and then use smplib to send the email. All in less than 50 lines. And if you set it up as a scheduled job, you never think about it again. Your boss gets the report every morning at 9 a.m., and you get to spend your time on more interesting problems. Web scraping is another classic Python automation use case. Maybe you want to monitor prices on an e-commerce site, or collect job postings, or aggregate news headlines. Python with Beautiful Soup and requests can extract data from static HTML pages. If the site uses JavaScript, you can use Selenium or Playwright to control an actual browser. You can have a script that runs every hour, checks for changes, and if it finds something new, sends you a notification via Slack or email. This is how many side projects and even some startups get their initial data. And let's not forget testing automation. In software development, you can't manually test every feature every time you make a change. That's where Python shines with frameworks like PyTest and Selenium. You can write automated tests that spin up your application, click through user flows, and verify that everything works. You can integrate those tests into your CI/CD pipeline so that every code commit runs them automatically. If something breaks, you know immediately. This saves teams countless hours and prevents bugs from reaching production. Now, let's be honest. Not everything about Python automation is perfect. One major con is performance. Python is an interpreted language, and it's not the fastest kid on the block. If you need to process millions of records in real time, Python might choke compared to something like Go or Rust. The Global Interpreter Lock, or GIL, also limits Python's ability to run multiple threads simultaneously. So for heavy CPU-bound tasks, you might hit a wall. But here's the catch, most automation tasks aren't CPU-bound. They're I/O bound, meaning they wait on file reads, network requests, or user input. Python handles I/O bound tasks just fine, especially with asynchronous libraries like Asyncio. So for 95% of automation use cases, the performance is more than adequate. Another downside is the ecosystem dependency. Because Python automation relies so heavily on third-party libraries, you have to manage dependencies carefully. One day, a library might update and break your script. Or a library might be abandoned. You need to use virtual environments and pin your dependencies to specific versions to avoid surprises. Docker can also help by containerizing your script with all its dependencies. It's not a showstopper, but it's something you have to be aware of. Now let's talk about common mistakes and pitfalls that developers fall into when automating with Python. The first one is ignoring error handling. You write a script that runs great on your machine, but then a file is missing, or a network request times out, and the script crashes silently. Always use try-except blocks, log errors to a file, and if possible, send an alert when something goes wrong. An automation script that fails without you knowing is almost worse than doing the task manually. The second pitfall is hard-coding values. You have file paths, API keys, email addresses, and thresholds all written directly in the script. Then you move the script to a new server, and everything breaks. Use environment variables or configuration files. Python's os.getenv and config parser make this easy. It keeps your scripts portable and secure. The third mistake is not thinking about idempotency. An idempotent operation is one that can be run multiple times and still produce the same result. For example, if your script creates a folder every time it runs, you might get errors on the second run because the folder already exists. Instead, check if the folder exists first, or use makers with exist_ok equals true. Idempotent scripts are safer and easier to schedule. Another common pitfall is scope creep. You start with a small automation script to do one simple thing. Then you add one more feature, then another, and before you know it, you have a 2,000-line monstrosity that nobody understands. Keep your automation scripts focused on a single responsibility. If you need multiple tasks, write multiple scripts, or refactor shared code into a library. Simplicity is your friend. Lastly, don't forget about security. If your script handles passwords, tokens, or personal data, never store them in plain text in your code. Use environment variables, secrets managers, or encrypted files. And if you commit your code to a public repository, make sure you have a .gitignore that excludes sensitive files. There are bots that scrape GitHub for leaked credentials. Don't be the one who gets hit by that. So, to sum it all up, Python is the go-to language for automation because it's readable, has a massive library ecosystem, and works beautifully for I/O bound tasks like file operations, web scraping, data processing, and testing. It's not the fastest language, but for most automation jobs, speed isn't the bottleneck, human time is. And Python saves human time like no other tool. Just remember to handle errors, avoid hard coding, make your scripts idempotent, keep them simple, and always secure your secrets. If you want to start automating today, pick a boring task you do regularly and write a Python script for it. Even if it takes you a few hours to write, if it saves you even 5 minutes a day, it pays off in less than 3 months. And that's a return on investment you can't ignore. If you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe to DevBrief for more practical developer insights. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.